So we are here with Felicia Spencer, 4-0 featherweight with Invicta FC, fighting in Invicta FC 30 against Helena Kolesnyk in the featherweight division. This is going to be a key fight for the division, given where it's at right now. So, Felicia, thanks again for joining us. And how's it going today?
It's going great. I'm really excited to get in there next weekend. Happy to talk to you also.
Now, we're a week out. How are you feeling heading into the fight? How's camp been thus far?
It's been great. I'm really excited to go in there and show everything I've been working on and have a good time. And it's like time to go. It's been a long camp. It always feels like okay at the end, let's just get it done and get in the cage. So I'm really excited to go over there.
Now, this is kind of a key moment for the featherweight division, and I want to start with the title picture in Invicta. You haven't had a champ in about a year since Megan Anderson headed off to the UFC, vacated the belt, and it's laying there. Has the promotion said anything about the title situation?
I can't really say nothing really specifically. I mean, it's kind of on the horizon. I understand my record isn't as long as a typical champ would have had. I'm only 4 fights in, so I get it. I'm also not stressing it. I know that in the future, hopefully over the next year, there'll either be something with a title or just stepping up to the UFC. So I'm not really stressing it. I'm excited for whatever comes up next.
Now, assuming that everything does go well, you're going to be 5-0, and we're looking at the featherweight division as a whole. All of a sudden, you're starting to see the UFC show interest in actually building the division and not just feeding people to Cyborg. First of all, we saw a lot of people try out for Tough 28. Pam Sorensen, for example, tried out and didn't make it. I think a lot of the selections, especially since a number were better known as bantamweight, surprised a few people. What did you think of the turnout, who they went with, and what does that kind of say to you as far as where they're going with the division?
You could draw a lot of different conclusions, good or bad from that. I think a lot of bantamweights have been cutting a lot of weight, and maybe it's good that some of them are going up. It's not necessarily a bad thing. They might actually fight better. Look, we just saw DC come up in weight, and he felt more comfortable with that weight. So it's not necessarily. I don't feel like we're just selecting bantamweights. It's good that some of the more experienced fighters didn't get on the show, maybe because maybe they're just looking to sign them directly, instead of having the whole show going around them. I'm hoping that to be the case. That's why I didn't try out, not because I'm so experienced, but I feel like with my position, if I could get more experience during this time that the show is happening, my record could get built up a little bit, and then I can just get my shot without having to go through the whole show drama and everything like that I'm not that interested in. So,
and a lot of people that I've talked to do say that about the house. Although I know the women's flyweight season, a lot of them really seem to bond. So I think it was a good experience for them. But I totally get not wanting to give up your life for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
So then we saw last night Julia Budd defend her 145 title in Bellator, and obviously another Canadian fighter. Did you get a chance to see that, and would that be an option that would interest you?
I didn't actually see it. I know I paid attention, up to like the weigh-ins, and then just kind of busy night. So I'm always keeping an eye on. I've always had a lot of respect for Julia Budd, and I'm sure one day we'll meet. I know that there's the whole line between the Bellator featherweights and then Invicta and UFC and others. So I'm not sure how it's all going to pan out, but I have a feeling all of the top featherweights will eventually probably meet each other. So I hope to be in that bunch.
Now, getting on to Invicta FC 30, going to be back in Kansas City, MO, next Saturday, the 21st, and you're fighting Helena. She is coming off a loss to Pam Sorensen, but she is a tough competitor. How do you feel you match up with her? What do you expect to see from her in the cage?
I feel like I match up really well. I do expect the best version of Helena to show up, and I'm not looking at her last appearance to give her whole picture. I didn't know of her before, but I also know that she is a tough fighter, and she was 5-0 for a reason, and she's got a good, well-rounded skill set. She's probably one of the more well-rounded. She's a good striker also, but I just feel like everything that she does, I can do. I can meet or do better, and I just feel like I can work my game and not let her work hers, basically. So I feel really excited to get in the cage and have a good time in there.
Is there anything you've done different this camp to prepare for?
It's basically business as usual. I mean, every camp, there's different special things that I kind of work on and try to hone up a little bit. There's a lot of different things I've worked on over my lifetime of martial arts. So sometimes I want to kind of go back to brush up on some of those things to bring them out and feel comfortable bringing them out into a fight. Like some kicking or something like that. But I feel really, excited to either keep it standing or, take it to the ground. I feel like wherever I see an opening, I can capitalize on it and show something hopefully exciting in the process. So.
If you had to give a prediction for this one, how do you see it ending?
First round, I'm guessing TKO or submission.
Are you kind of looking to make a statement with this fight because you are undefeated and, I know you said you don't have the longest resume per se, but, the title is there.
Yeah, I always want to make a statement. I really, winning is great with a decision. It's great, but it's not really what I want. It's not what fans really want to see all the time, even if they are exciting. It's always better to finish, and I always want to be in and out of the cage as fast as I can. So I really feel like I can get the first round finish this time, and hopefully do it in a really exciting way to bring more eyes to the division and to myself, to prop myself up a little bit. So.
Now, if all goes well, and we'll play a little what if all goes well, would you want to go for the belt, or if the opportunity arose to go straight into the UFC now that they're getting a little more serious with featherweight, would you go that alternate route?
That's a great question. I mean, the title is always awesome, but it's also, you've heard it, it's every fighter's dream to be in the UFC at some point. I feel like it'll be there eventually. So I'm not really sure. I guess if it was offered to go in the UFC, that'd be awesome, but I'm also not expecting either of these things to happen after this next fight. I'm just hoping to see what comes. And I'm excited to just be 5-0, hopefully, and keep going. So.
Well, looking forward to the fight, and I wanted to go kind of how you got to this point in your career, because we're both Canadian. I'm actually right by Niagara Falls right now. You're a Canadian who wound up going down to Florida, if I'm not mistaken, for university.
Well, I actually moved to Florida when I was a kid with my family. My family moved when I was 4 years old, so we moved a little bit back and forth to different places, but definitely lived here, majority of my life, and I am a dual citizen, so it's really just where I've really grown up, and I love that I have the Canadian side of me, I guess. I have a lot of family there. I love visiting. So I'm really proud to be, both Canadian and American, and I'm, one of the lucky few to have a dual citizenship.
So you've actually acclimatized to the heat, because let me tell you, I don't do too well down there.
Yeah, it's something else to go for a run in the summer in July in Florida, but it's I enjoy it. I love living here. I've lived here most of my life, so it's I'm really happy here. So.
How was it juggling? So when we're talking about your university career, and I believe you're actually a teacher now.
I am. Yeah, it's a lot to balance. I trained a lot, throughout going to the University of Central Florida here in Orlando, and now I have a more flexible type of teaching job. I did go to a physical school for a little while, but I went to a virtual school, so it's an online program, so it is still a lot of work, but it's more flexible, so I can take a couple hours off here and there to train and do what I need to do. So it's a lot, though. Maybe one day I'll have a I'll be in a position where I can kind of postpone the teaching and really go full time in fighting and taking care of myself. That's probably the hardest part, is the recovery aspect that I neglect because I'm so busy with other things. So.
And going the Rich Franklin route.
Yeah, math, right? He was a math teacher. So,
Yeah, and even,
yeah.
yeah, one championship actually yesterday. Tyler McGuire, a teacher as well, who's competing. So you're definitely in a good club. Now,
Yeah.
have you ever had a student? I know you're doing the online thing, but I'm assuming there's still some interaction or some webcam or whatever. Have you ever had a student recognize you?
No, they don't recognize me, but a lot of teenagers like to use Google on their teachers. So I've definitely had some, that mention while we're talking, oh, I Googled you, by the way, or something like that. So then they find out. When I was in a physical classroom for the short time I was there, it was like immediately I could hear in the back of the classroom on the cell phone a YouTube video of my fight or something, and the whole school, knew at that point. So it's a little different online. Fewer of them take their time to do that. They don't care so much about their teachers as much. But we do interact, and some of them have mentioned that, so it's pretty funny.
Was it easier to keep them in line when they found out you were a pro fighter?
I don't know. I mean, I can't really compare it to how they might have listened to me if I wasn't a fighter. So it was like first day when I was there, they knew. So it was kind of hard to compare. But hopefully it was, I hope it was more like a motivation, like, hey, whatever you want, if you work hard, you can get there. And you can't neglect taking care of business sometimes with, having to have two jobs or something like that. It's all part of reaching your goals. And that's the kind of what I want to push to them more than anything, is just perseverance in life.
Well said. So what's the goal then for Felicia Spencer 2018? Where do you want to see yourself at the end of this year?
I want to be 6-0, and I'd like to get a call from UFC early, or a title shot, one or the other. I am hoping for by January, to kind of have a path for one direction or the other. But either way, I don't really have that many expectations in my life because things change so quickly. Just a few years ago, it wasn't even possible for women to be in the UFC, and then featherweights were not on the horizon, and now things change so quickly. It's like I don't really set that many expectations. I just want to do my best and see where I end up. But I'm definitely going to the top wherever it takes me.
All right. Well, looking forward to the journey. Looking forward to the fight on July 21st. Invicta FC 30. Felicia Spencer, thanks so much for taking the time today.
No problem. Thank you also. Have a great day.
All right. Best of luck in the fight. Take care.